Hi, this is a review of the order trading system activity for January the 26th, 2022. We had 7 trades on that day. All 7 trades were short sells, which tells you one big thing is that the market was down fairly heavily yesterday. My system is actually very picky about short sells. It has a very intense evaluation for short selling, so it doesn't show up as much. So if I get this many on a day, it means something's happening on the market. First trade was HA. That's Hawaiian Holdings Incorporated, tripped at 12:45 p.m. at a price of $17.54, and it was a short sell. Closed the day at $17.95, down 8.18%. Got 0.35% rise after hours, so it did recover a little bit, but still it was down, and that's a positive result because it ended the day below its tripping price. And scroll lock. Okay. Volume, not too much, down a little bit, but you can see in the afternoon the volume came up. MACD, on the other hand, MACD was down pretty much the whole day. GI is actually bouncing back and forth. Interesting enough, at the end of the day, though, strongly negative. And Bollinger Band, when Excel doesn't really show the chart with a bit of a small point, try to get it a bit more clearer by changing the axis limits. Yeah, not too much. It's still pretty much negative. But you can see though at the end of the day, this stock here, Bollinger Band showing the stock is actually moving more sideways for most of the day, and then the end of the day period is where it dropped off. So it ended the day negative, but sideways for most of the part. Next trade is AMT. That's American Tower Corporations. Tripped at 2:55, 26 p.m. at a price of 244.73. It closed the day at 242.60, down 3.17%, 0.59% after hours. So it did recover a little bit after hours. Okay, that's another positive. Let's check the indicators, see how they look. Same thing, sideways, end of day negative. MACD sideways down at the end of the day. DI sideways down at the end of the day. A little bit of recovery though. Looks like it was starting to move back up. The same thing at Bollinger Band down, moving sideways. Sideways, down, sideways. So that stock ended the day somewhat moving down, but it was starting to reverse. Next trade is ACB. That's Aurora Cannabis Incorporated, tripped at 3:05:05 p.m. at a price of 403. Closed the day at 406, down 3.56% and up 1.48% after hours. So it made a recovery. After hours. So we need to see if there's any opportunity here. 305 right at the end of the day. Oh. 305 to 322, 402, 409. That's where it came back up. Came back up here and then basically stabilized, but it was down below its tripping price for a good 15 minutes, and to me that's positive, so I'm going to say that's a positive result. Check to see what the indicators show. Volume down, MACD is down, a little bit of a peak at the end, so averages came back up. Same thing with DI, down, back up, down, back up. Seen a pattern here that looks like the end of the day this one here was reversing or moving downwards, so it seemed like the markets were down at the end of the day. Next trade is DDD. Tripped, let's see, that is 3D Systems Corporation, tripped at 3:05:07 p.m. at a price of 16.58. Closed at 16.39, down 2.27%, 0.67% recovery of upwards at the end of the day, but it was still down below stripping price at the end of the day, so that's a positive. Okay, and indicators again, sideways downwards. MACD sideways downwards at the end of the day, DI down at the end of the day. So the stock ended the day down, but it's like the other stock, it seems to be that it was the end of the day where a lot of action was occurring in the negative direction. Next trade is BIDU. That's Bidu Incorporated, tripped at 3:05:17 p.m. at a price of 148.18. It closed the day at 148.30, down 1.77%, and down 0.63% after our, so it's put down 0.63% pre-market here, so early morning. So, okay. $47 recovers. So at 322, it was at its drop, lowest point, which was 322. It's tripped to 305, so we're talking almost 15 minutes here. Thing is, it did had a it's interesting because here the charts are not showing clearly what's going on here. I can't say that because there's a pause because the charts are just not showing because the tripping price is showing 148.18 at 305, but the actual price activity around that time was higher than that, so it's a bit unclear. Well, say because of a bit of an unclarity. Well, here, let's just check Google Finance because maybe it's going to be a bit more clear. Check indicators while that's loading. 15, 5, 17, so up, down, in the day. MACD showing it dropped here at that time and a bit of a recovery, which we saw in the price. DI showed that it did drop and it was starting to recover. Using normalized boiler, same thing came down and sideways. I would say with the activity of the stock, looks like it was moving negative, even though it did look like there may have been a little bit of recovery. I still think it's still moving negative very strong because DI showing strong for the whole day. MACD sideways, building around a bit sideways. So I think we have a good possibility there. I just want to check the price range in Google Finance. And BIDU. NASDAQ. Yeah. You can see the same chart. The same chart here is actually shown more accurately. Here the chart seems to be not showing the price range accurately. It's showing the price here at 148, but well, actually no, 306, 147. Yeah, okay, yeah. Google's showing a little bit more accurately. 148.37. So it had its low point roughly. Trying to get a little bit more accurate here. $148.10. Okay, so it jumped above its tripping price again, but it came down again here. 147.81. So it did come down again here at 325. So I'm going to say it's a positive because Google's more accurate. Yahoo's just not showing pretty positive. But this here you hear it was down. It was down around that time, 302, 302, 305, 148.34. Yeah, so Google's a little bit more accurate, and it is showing the fact that it was down below. That whole section there was actually down below its shipping price on a regular basis. And we did check, yes, we already checked the indicators. They did show it was moving negative. Next trade is ANY. That's Sphere 3D Corporation, tripped at 3:05:23 p.m. So you got a bunch of stuff right at the same period of time. Tripped at 199, closed the day at $2, down 1.96%, and it's down 0.50% pre-market here, so it's down at its shipping price again. But and again, Google chart's just not showing very clearly. So let's go take a look at Google Finance to see what it looks like more concretely. That was NASDAQ, NASDAQ, okay, so this looks like the right one. Okay, so it tripped to 305 roughly. Stayed down, but you can see it dropped down to 196, 198. So from roughly around 305 to 327, so we're talking almost 20 minutes there where it was down below strip price. Then it came up and recovered and was jumping up between that. And we saw here a point after that period that it did go down, not a long time. So I think, with the roughly 20 some odd minutes that it was down below strip price, there was more than enough time to get out positively on this stock. And we'll have a look at the indicators, see how they look. Yeah, volume again showing that it dropped in the afternoon. MACD showing it came down, and the day looked like a recovery. DI though just showing it was down, stayed down, and Bollinger Band stayed down now. So stock ended the day moving negative. Next trade is AQN. That's Algonquin Power and Utilities Corporation, tripped at 3:06:06 p.m. at a price of $13.70. It closed the day at $13.73. This actually was up 0.37% and up 1.6% after hours. After hours. And it's just not clear. Well, I guess we go take a look at the chart here, and maybe this will give us a bit more clarity. Yeah. Yeah, okay. This chart is just not clear enough. But again, it's showing that it was positive above the tripping period, which is not very clean. AQN. Algonquin Power Utilities. I think it was Algonquin, wasn't it? Yeah, it was Algonquin Power Utilities. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. The chart on Yahoo is just not very clear. And 1735, yeah, see, like, this period here, it was showing on Yahoo that the stock actually was basically still above the tripping price. 1737, oh, wait a minute, this is 17. Oh yeah, no, this is not right at all. This is not the, no. AQN, New York, Algonquin Power, Utility, 13.7. That's the one we want to look at. Okay. So 13, again, same thing. This price, the stock here is showing much more. Google is showing much more clearly what's going on here. 1368 at 324. It was down that area. It was still down. 1372. 1370, so roughly around 327 starting to come back. Again, almost 20 minutes, well at least 15. It was at least 15 minutes where it was down below its tripping price. And this is where it tripped, was roughly around this area. So it tripped around this area, and then it didn't come back up. So that's still a positive. And we'll check the indicators. Yeah, same thing. End of day where it came down. MACD came down in a day. Another recovery average came up again today. DI showed that it stabilized here. This is probably where this bit of averages came up here, is when DI started to come up here a bit near the end of the day, and then closing it went back negative. Bollinger Band showing that was sideways movement. So the stock itself was somewhat moving more sideways, ended the day somewhat sideways, but there was that drop there at the end of the day area where it caused a positive result. Anyways, that's all 7 stocks showing that they were negative, and they stayed negative for a period of time for it to be positive, which is 100%. So another fairly good day. But also you can see that this system monitors activity fairly concretely. The fact is the market was down yesterday, but looking at the activity of the stocks themselves, you can see the negativity happened at the end of the day because all the stocks were hit at the end of the day, basically between 3 and 4 p.m. Time, where something happened, obviously, to cause things to drop. And that's what happened. Anyways, I'll leave it at that. Thank you.